Now more than ever before, you have to be very cognizant of your environment, who you're communicating with, and what's going on around you. Today, we're going to be talking about stalker safety and how you can keep yourself and your families safe.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
The reality is that anyone these days needs to be aware of stalkers and the effect that they can have on your lives. If you can believe it or not, I was affected by a stalker many, many years ago. I had a client who was not very happy with a particular outcome, and I found out he had a psychological problem. And he came after me, and that was a very uncomfortable experience. I had to get the authorities involved, and I had to be very cautious of my environment. We eventually got the situation dealt with, but it could have got really ugly really quickly. And that's what we need to talk about today, keeping you and your family safe. So what exactly is stalking? What are we talking about here? Stalking is a pattern of unwanted behavior aimed at an individual that causes fear or distress. So in my circumstance, I had a client who, although I told them exactly what they were gonna get, and they got exactly that, when it was time for us to process the money.
Now, wait a minute, I want more.
I'm like, well, no, you already agreed, you already signed.
Wait, hold on, this is a problem.
And he refused to sign, and it just got to be a big, ugly, terrible mess. He kept coming up to the office, he kept waiting around the car, he kept doing things to make me feel very uncomfortable in an attempt to try and intimidate me. That's the very definition of stalking. So one of the things that you need to do is just recognizing your surroundings and recognizing those warning signs as related to stalkers. So typically speaking, stalkers use 4 different tactics that we're going to quickly talk about. Number 1, unwanted communication. Following their victims. Is someone contacting you much more frequently than they really should? And this is really difficult, especially with an attorney, right? Because when you're in an attorney-client relationship, you have a duty to that client to be responsive to them, to listen to them, to answer their questions. But if they keep calling you and contacting you and calling much more frequently than they should, you may have a concern there that you need to keep a very close eye on. Unwanted surveillance is really important, especially with someone like myself who's an attorney who's out there with the public, publicizing events, trying to engage with the public, where I'm giving people access to where I'm going to be and where. It's really important when you're getting out in public to really watch your surroundings. Who is there? Who's watching you? Who is following you? Make sure you're keeping your eyes and ears on a swivel so that you're never surprised by something and you don't get harmed. So another one that's really important is unwelcome gifts and appearances, right? Because while, oh wow, this is so sweet, I got this gift from somebody. But if that person keeps sending you another gift and another gift and another gift, you gotta be really careful because that's a big red flag. What I typically do is I don't accept gifts from people I don't know because there could be strings attached. It could send the wrong message, and you piss off the wrong person, you never know what bad might happen. So in dealing with situations involving stalkers or suspected stalkers, you've got to take protective measures. Document everything. When you suspect something doesn't smell right or sound right, make sure you're letting people know. Make sure you're documenting. Keep records of what's going on, just in case you need that information later on. If somebody shows up at your residence without being invited, make note of that. Make your neighbors aware. Tell the authorities. Don't just blow it off. Take these things seriously. Form trusted individuals. In my situation, I'm gonna tell my wife, I'm gonna tell my kids, I'm gonna tell the family, hey, this is what's going on. Here's the situation, be aware of it. When I'm at the office, I'm telling my managers, I'm telling my staff, I'm telling my security guard, hey, keep an eye on this person. They've called me too many times. Keep an eye out. Watch where they're going. This is what their car looks like. Make people aware of the circumstances. Don't keep people in the dark because those are the very people that might be there to help you when you need it the most. Change your daily patterns. This is really important. If someone is following me or tracking, I want to make sure it's a little bit more complicated or difficult for them to follow me or do something bad. So just vary things up a little bit and keep an eye out on what's going on. Look in that rearview mirror. Look around you. Make sure before you get in and out of your car or in and out of your building that you're looking around and being very aware of your circumstances. Utilizing technology safely. We are all on our computers and our phones way too much, and we give too much access to people. And once they are able to get into our systems, they can learn everything about us. So one of the things that we've got to do, make sure you're using privacy settings. When you use these privacy settings, it limits the access that people have to your information. So maybe it's just your friends and your family, or certain people that you can keep in and others that you're keeping out. So keep an eye on those things. Make sure you're looking in and just updating those things intermittently to make sure you're on top of it. Another way that you can take steps to protect yourself is utilizing technology safely. So after you've made your profile private and someone is still harassing you and still doing things to make you feel uncomfortable, then you need to take it to the next level. Block them. So the next thing you can do to protect yourself online is incorporating digital security measures. Updating your passwords, making sure that they're complicated, make sure they're not simple and easy that anyone can figure out. By not sharing these passwords and making sure you're keeping them private. Updating your security software. So one of the things you've really got to do is continuously updating your phone and your computer so you're getting the most recent updates. Seeking legal and law enforcement assistance when necessary. When someone is doing something that you think is harassing you, let other people know. Contact the authorities, contact an attorney. While I don't personally do that, I have seen other people hire lawyers to address these issues legally, and then others who turn to law enforcement with regards to what their criminal options are. A few different legal options that you have. You can seek a protective order when someone is harassing you. Obviously reporting to law enforcement and seeking victims advocacy services. Again, while these things are measures that are helpful, nothing is foolproof. And just because you seek out these measures doesn't always get you the remedy that you're looking for. Take this really seriously. If you need professional help to get through this, seek it. It's important. We're talking about your emotional well-being and your physical health. Just easy things that you can do for yourself. Exercising more, just thinking more about the situation and circumstances, talking with your friends and family about what's going on. By getting these things out of your system, you promote the ability to start to heal, to start to address it, to start to make things better for yourself. One of the things that you've got to realize that I realized a long time ago, stalking is a serious issue and anyone can fall victim to it. I know I have in the past, which means anyone can. So take these things very seriously. Remember, you're not alone in this. And one of the things you've got to do is let those that are around you, make sure they're aware of what's going on so they can help you, so they can assist you, and they can keep their eyes open as to any potential dangers that might be out there that you don't know about. I'm hoping that you've learned something from this process. I hope this is something that you never have to deal with. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking and whether or not this was helpful to you at all. My name's Attorney Darren Miller, and this is DLAW.